After a tumultuous summer of real estate, autumn is finally here, and as of mid-September, the benchmark 30-year fixed rate is hovering north of 6%, and skyrocketing home prices are starting to cool off. These indicators spell both good and bad news for fall homebuyers and sellers. Wondering which direction the housing market will head into? That leaves everyone curious. Are you just wondering what the heck is happening with interest rates? Will the market crash? Here's some predictions. Will the housing market stay hot? Well, the market seems to be cooling pretty dramatically right about now. Case in point, July marked the 7th consecutive month in which existing home sales were lower than the month prior, down 20% year over year and 5.9% from month over month the previous year, according to the National Association of Realtors. The data is so fascinating right now. In July, the annualized rate of home sales dropped below 5 million homes, which represents a decline of over 1 million home sales compared to 2021. That's significant. Both new and existing home sales will probably continue to decelerate through the fall and winter, with home price appreciation likely to end 2022 in the low digits, like 2 or 3%. But let me give you some perspective on the average healthy rate of appreciation, which is 4% a year, according to most economists. And we have been seeing double-digit appreciation for the past 2.5 years. So is it really all that bad? While slower feels bad, we needed to cool off, and perhaps we've borrowed some of that appreciation faster than what we would have done if we'd gone up 4 or 6% per year. Let me give you an example. Let's say, realistically, your house appreciated 18% in the last 2 years, and we decelerated down to 2% this year. That would still be 20% over the last 3 years. That is still really healthy. I know we've all gotten used to this manic rise and home prices going up and up, but if we're all really honest with ourselves, we knew it probably wasn't sustainable, and now we're in a market of retreat, and interest rates being higher is causing them to settle back down. The other thing that's rather interesting is this decline of home values is entirely due not to the demand, but the actual interest rates. We still have plenty of people who would love to buy a home, but affordability and approving for financing is now proving more challenging. So consider that very important point. The market would have continued to surge on if not for interest rates rising. We can expect further price corrections as homes move into the rest of the year. In order to meet this new market, sellers are going to have to consider getting a little more competitive with their pricing and negotiation strategies. They're going to also have to help home buyers make it a little more affordable by potentially negotiating for credits towards an interest rate buy down or other types of helpful measures. Now, as we move into the fall and the winter, we're also going to be looking at home buyers scraping into the market as interest rates rise and the cost of getting into a home gets extraordinarily more expensive. So you can't just sell your house any old way, that if it needs repairs, buyers are going to negotiate and they're going to ask for assistance in that. Are we headed toward a housing bubble? A housing bubble is described as an unsustainable span of home growth caused by factors like speculative home buying with loose underwriting guidelines. Of course, the word bubble suggests that we're going to pop, but is that the current market we're destined for? The housing market today is not driven by loose lending standards, subprime mortgages, or homeowners who are highly leveraged, says Odette Akushi, Deputy Chief Economist at First American. The house price appreciation in today's housing market is supported by the fundamentals and characterized by a shortage of supply relative to demand. However, with surging inflation and rising costs in our overall economic environment, inevitably, the housing market will feel the effects of that, as a home buyer trying to get into the market is going to need assistance and try to make it as affordable for themselves as possible. Downward pressure on prices is inevitable to some degree, but a crash is usually associated with building a housing market on a very shaky financing foundation, similar to what we experienced in 2008. These days, loans are way more strict. Qualifying has never been harder, and therefore it's going to be harder for home buyers to qualify in this new market with these new interest rates. As I'm watching loan delinquencies, which are notices of default, they're still at an all-time low. So I do not see people defaulting, increasing anything that's of significance. We still have to combat the cost of living, and that is going to affect home values overall. So no housing bubble is on the horizon at this time. With the largest demographic of home buyers coming into the marketplace between the ages of 25 and 34, these households are creating consistent demand for housing. Rent is increasing. This plays another role. These increases are causing renters to rethink where they're putting their money. Right here in Portland, Oregon, rents can go up as much as 14% in 2023, which begs the question, can you afford to buy a home and make a similar payment towards your own home? While we have elections and economic factors coming into play this fall and winter, make no mistake that we are very much in a different real estate market. As an agent who has lived through a lot of real estate markets, this market feels very similar to pre-COVID market and a regular housing market that I'm pretty used to. We need to price homes strategically, make sure your condition is on point and you're ready to go, and making sure that you are working with an experienced broker through this new market change is vital. As always, we are here to make sure your home sale is our first priority. Give us a call to learn more about your specific situation.